Well, welcome to the 15th chapter of the book of Matthew. It begins with the scribes and the Pharisees questioning Jesus. To te proserconte to Isu I apo Jerusalemon. Then came forward to Jesus the ones from Jerusalem. They're up in the Sea of Galilee area, and so these scribes, says grammatis ke Pharisei legontes, scribes and Pharisees, and men from Jerusalem, of these two religious parties that were at odds with each other. It seems like every religion has its parties that are at odds with one another. The Catholics and the Protestants in the Christian religion. You have the Sunnis and the Shiites and the Muslim, the Zen Buddhist and other Buddhist entities that are at odds with each other. And then the Hindu has probably the greatest, as I understand, of the different sects and people believing different things. So you have all of these entities, and here we have the scribes and the Pharisees coming to divinity. And it begins in verse 2, diati imathite su paravenusin tin paradosin ton presbyteron. Why do your disciples violate the tradition of the presbyteron? We have the Presbyterian is a denomination that is led by elders. So we have that derivative. Ugar niptonte tas hirasav ton, oten arton as theosin. For they wash not their hands whenever they eat bread. What are they talking about? Well, we can find out exactly what they're referring to, and they go into the Mishnah. I mentioned it before, and here's the Mishnah. I have a volume, Danby's, and it has a section in it. I'll just read a little bit to give you an idea. It's called the Yadaim, Y-A-D-A-I-M, meaning hands. To render the hands clean, a quarter log or more of water must be poured over the hands to suffice for one person or even for two. A half log or more suffices for 3 persons or for 4. 1 log or more suffices for 5 or for 10 or for 100. Rabbi Josie or Jose says, provided that for the last among them there remains not less than a quarter log. More water may be added to the second water that is poured over the hands, but more may not be added to the first. And it goes on and on and on, a whole chapter on washings. So this is what Jesus is coming against and referring to. And they're coming against Jesus right here and saying that he doesn't go along with these rabbis and these teachings of the traditions of the Mishnah. O the apokrythis ipen aftis. And answering, he said to them, Diati ke imis paravenete tin entolin tu theu dia tin paradosin imon. Why also do you violate the commandment of God through your tradition? In verse 4, Ogar theos and tilato, for God gave charge, saying, Legon, timaton patera ke tin mitera. Honor, esteem the father and the mother. An imperative. This is what God gave charge. And this is in Exodus 21:16. Shows that down the footnote further. Ke okakologon patera imitera thanato teleftato. The one speaking evil of a father or mother by death shall come to an end. It's still in the same spot in the Old Testament. Kakologon. Remember, the logo is something to do with speaking, and kaka is bad, something evil. Bad or evil. Kakologon, speaking evil of a father or mother. Thanato teleftato, by death shall come to death. Somebody speaking evil. This is what the word says. But Jesus says, imiste legate. But you say, os an ipi to patri I timitri. Whoever should say to the father or to the mother, thoron o eon examu o felithis. Whatever from out of me you should derive benefit is a gift offering. More or less, they're instead of helping the parents, they're dedicating this money that they have, which should go to the parents, as a dedication to God. What an abomination. But this is what they were doing, and Jesus shows them this abomination. Ophilethes, we have the word Ophelia, the name. It means benefit, beneficial. Verse 6, Ke umi timisi ton patera avtu etin mitera avtu. In no way should he esteem his father or his mother as a result of this tradition. Ke ikirosate tin entolin tu theu dia tin parados inimon. Then you voided the commandment of God through your tradition. 7. Hypocrite, hypocrites. There's a transliteration. Kalos proephitevsa peri imon Isaias legon. And this is in Isaiah 29:13. Hypocrites, well, Isaiah prophesied concerning you, saying, Egizi mi oleos utos, to stomati avton. This people approach me with their mouth. Ketis hilasi me tima, and with their lips, with the lips, esteem me. Ide cardia avton porro apeki apemu. But their heart is far off at a distance from me. The heart is where the feelings and the thoughts and the more or less our mind. Whenever you see heart, you kind of think of it as mind. Heart is the literal translation, but in the usage isn't really it's an organ that pumps blood, but to them it was more or less the mind where the thoughts were. I guess they didn't understand that and have the science behind all this, so this is what they thought, or the cardia was just the place for the thoughts. And even though they may have known what the heart physically was, I don't know. But so he was saying that they're serving with the mouth and their lips. Verse 9, Matin they sevonte me, but in vain they worship me. Now here's the correct usage for the word, English word worship, sevonte. It's used for giving reverence to God in the mind, not obeisance by laying down on the ground. Didaskontes, didaskalias, teaching instructions, didactics, teachings. Entaumata anthropon, the precepts of men. The precepts of men, a whole book full right here, the Mishnah. You can read them all. Anthropon, anthropology, derivative. Verse 10, Ke proskalasamenos ton oklon, and having called on the multitude, ipanavtis, he said to them, Akuate ke siniate, hear and perceive. There's the exclamation. Acoustics is the derivative. 11. Uto iserhomenon istostoma kini ton anthropon. Not the thing entering into the mouth defiles the man. This accent right here shouldn't be there. The yellow. So the thing that goes into the mouth, foods, basically. Allah to ekporevomenu non ek to stomatos, but the thing going forth from out of the mouth. Tuto kini ton anthropon. This defiles a man. Well, that's for certain, but if you're into the legalities, you wouldn't see that. But I mean, our mouths are just terrible. Things that we say, things that I say, and all sorts of things, just horrible. But what I put into my mouth, whether it's a ham sandwich or a boiled egg or a kosher pickle, doesn't even compare to what the evils that come out of us. Tote proselthontes, then having drawn near, imathite avtu ipan avto, his disciples said to him, Ethos oti I Pharisei I aku santes ton logon escandalistisan? Do you know that the Pharisees, hearing the word, were offended? Scandal is in here. Scandal. The epsilon is generally past tense whenever it's before certain verbs. Scandalistisan. They were offended, scandalized. O de apokrithis ipe. And he said, pasaphitia in uk ephitevsen o patir mu o uranios, every plant which my heavenly Father planted not, ek rhizothisate, shall be rooted out. 1610, you can add that to your English derivative books where the ek is from, and rhizo, a rhizome is a root ball, shall be rooted out. 14, aphete aftus, let them go. Odigi isi tifli, tiflon. They are blind guides of the blind. Tiflos they tiflon, ean odigi, and if the blind should guide the blind, amphotori is vothinon pesunte, both shall fall into a cistern. Apokrithis they o Petros, ipen avto. And responding, Peter said to him, Ephrason imin tin paravolin tavtin. Expound to us this parable. There's another transliteration. So many transliterations. It'd be interesting to see where these transliterations came. I translated it right here. I could have mentioned other places given in a different word, but transliterations are interesting to study. I imagine it would be interesting to see how translations were used early with the Tyndale Bible, and then the Cloverdale's Bible, the Geneva, and then the Bishops, and the Great Bible, and then King James, and see if they all do the same transliterations. Maybe somebody out there wants to do that study and pick them up, and if they do, please send it to me. Verse 16. Ode Isus ipen, and Jesus said, Akmin ke imi sasinati este. At this moment, are you even senseless? Upo noite otipan to is porevomenon is to stoma is tinkilian hori. Not yet do you comprehend that all entering into the mouth has a space in the belly? Ke is aphedrona ek valete, and into the bowel is cast out. It could be a bowel, it could be a cistern or a cesspool. Different words in the dictionaries has a hard time trying to figure out which one it is, but it doesn't matter because this is where stuff goes. Ends up. Tade ek porevomena ek tu stomatos ek tis cardias exercite. But the things going forth from out of the mouth come forth from out of the heart. Well, now, see, here she's saying that the heart is where the mind is, and things that are going on with the thinking and the feelings and the decision-making. It's not the muscle. Kakina kini ton anthropon. And those defile the man. It doesn't go into here. Well, I'm sorry, it does go in here. In verse 19, ek gartis cardias exer conte dialogis me poni re. Dialogue is the transliteration for this word. For out of the heart comes forth evil thoughts. We have evil thoughts that Satan comes in and plants a lot of them, gives us doubts, and then we think of evil things to deal with, and evil things that may come. They're these thoughts. So they're thoughts. This is where the heart is, of the thoughts. Phony, murder. Murders come out of somebody hatred, hating somebody. Mikie, adulteries. And here it is again in the mind. See a woman as a wife of another man and desire her. Pornie, harlotries. Pornea, pornography, harlotries. We could put just pornography here, and that'd be a transliteration. It would probably be very accurate. It says everything for itself. Looking at pornography. Clope, frauds. There's all kinds of people who are lying and cheating and stealing. Is just reading today in the paper about a man who had a fraud going with working for the EPA. In the said he was actually working for the CIA, and he was getting all kinds of money from the EPA for things that he wasn't doing, fraud. Pseudo-martyrie, false witnesses. Pseudo, pseudo, and the witness, martyr. So a false witnessing, people that go up on stand in front of a judge and witness falsely. Blasphemie, because for whatever reason they're forced into it, they're threatened, or the friend is up there that he wants to save. Blasphemie, and saying things against God and against the truth. There's another transliteration, 988. 1520. Tavta esti ta kinunta ton anthropon. These are the things defiling the man. To de aniptis hersi phagin ukini ton anthropon. But with unwashed hand, to eat with unwashed hands defiles not the man. There are a lot of extra biblical things that are taught in churches today that such as you can't drink any alcohol, or celibacy, monasticism. A lot of these things aren't taught, just the opposite. Alcohol is to be drunk, and it's to be made feel good. It's all over the place in the Old Testament and the New a little bit. Celibacy, there's no place that says you're not supposed to have children. Mary had them. And monasticism, we're to be the light of the world, not to go hide in the dark. So there's all types of these things that are taught, the same as the scribes and the Pharisees were. In verse 21, Ke exelthon ekethan o Isus anechorison is tameri tiru ke sidonos. So now Jesus is withdrawing to parts of Tyre and Sidon, which is up north, actually in Lebanon. Ke idhu gini hananei apo ton orion ekinon. And behold, a Canaanite woman from those borders, Exelthusa, coming forth, ekravgasin afto legusa, cried out to him, saying, Eleison me, Kyrie ie David, mercy on me, O Lord, son of David. An exclamation. The Kyrie eleison in the liturgy. There's the eleison, mercy. The Kyrie is the Lord. Ithigatir mu kakos thymonizas te. My daughter is badly demon-possessed. Verse 22, daughter. We have a thegater and daughter, the. It's almost a transliteration. Then 23, O de ukapakrithi av ti logon. He answered not to her a word. He's not talking to her, just not saying anything. Ke proselthontas imathite avtu eroten avton. And his disciples having come asked him, legonta, saying, here they are, doing it again. They're going to command the divinity. Apo lison avtin. Dismiss her. Oti krazi opistan imon. She cries out behind us, so she was doing this more and more. Lord, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Crying it out real loud. And they wanted to get rid of her. And Jesus is ignoring her. O de apokrithis ipan. And responding, he said, Ukapestalin imi is ta provata ta apololota iku Israel. I was not sent except unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is what he tells the disciples. She's standing there, and he's not talking to her. He's talking to the disciples and saying, I'm not sent to these people. I'm sent to the Jews, basically. The lost house of Israel, a lost sheep. It's interesting how he refers to them as the lost sheep, even though these people, Pharisees and scribes, I'm sure don't consider themselves lost. Verse 25, Ide elthusa prosakini afto. And she, having come, did obeisance to him. So now she's listening, and all of a sudden she puts her face down on the ground, falls flat on the ground. Legusa, saying, Kyrie voithi me. Lord, help me. She's crying this out. There's the exclamation. Help me. She hears what he's saying, but she doesn't stop. O de apokrithis ipan. It doesn't say he said it to her. he said it out loud. Maybe he's looking at the disciples. Uk esti kalon lavin ton arton ton teknon. It's not good to take the bread of the children, the Jews, ke valin tis kinaris, and to throw it to the little dogs. Valin, ballistic, is a derivative. Ide ipen, and she said, she's still there and she's on the ground, Ne Kyrie, ke garta kinaria esti apo ton sihion ton piptun ton apotis trapezis ton kyrion afton. She said, Yes, O Lord, for even the little dogs eat from the crumbs falling from the table of their masters. And the table, trapezes. We have a trapeze, the little thing that people swing in, but that's the derivative, a table, a flat surface that you sit on. So she's saying that, well, even the little dogs get the crumbs, get something from the table. In verse 28, Tote apokrithis o Isus, ipen afti, and then responding, Jesus said to her, O Gine, and now he's responding to her for the first time that we know. Megali su epistis. Great is the belief of yours. Great. More so than maybe the disciples, some of the disciples. What did she have? She had humbleness, a humbleness that was way different than pride. If she was proudful, she would have left. And not even, or she may not have even have come in the first place. But she's believing, she has a belief, and then she comes with a humbleness that even after sort of being insulted by relating it to little dogs, she still continues and says that even the little dogs. So this humbleness, the opposite of that is a pridefulness. We see the pridefulness, and God hates pride. It says that over and over in the Old Testament, and we have all types of pride that would keep somebody from coming to God and doing the things that God would want and receiving the benefits. Like racial pride. People that are certain races think, well, I'm just too good to go down to somebody of the other race and bow down to them and kiss their boots. I'm not going to do that. I don't have that. I'm too prideful to do that. Have religious pride. People that are think that their denomination or sect, whatever it is the right one, and anybody from anything else couldn't possibly know, and they're going to be going to hell. And so religious pride, civic pride. My city or my country or my nation is the greatest, and everybody else is secondary to us. We're the greatest people in the world, and so who can tell us what to do? Educational pride, having a pride of having a degree, being a PhD, and anybody that doesn't have this PhD couldn't possibly know these things from God, and so I'm not going to listen to what they have to say because they don't have the intellect that I have. An economic or a social pride, that you're of a certain class, socialites, a high society. How can anybody that doesn't have the degree from Harvard know anything? Or somebody that's rich can look at somebody that's very poor, be wealthy and own a farm, and then the people that work for them, they're just my workers. They're nothing like me. And or a physical pride, somebody that's really good looking, has just Adonis body, or a woman that's just gorgeous, and she looks at somebody that may be overweight or somebody that's got a disfigurement and looks down on them and has this pridefulness about them, and that keeps them, all these different things, pridefulness, and we all are guilty of them at times, but we need to look at ourselves and see and learn from this wonderful woman. And what happened? He says, Ke iathi ithigatir aftis apo tis oris ekinis, and her daughter was healed from that hour. Hour is a transliteration. So the daughter was healed. That's what she came for. She was going to humble herself to this Jewish rabbi. Came at Tavas at Kethan, and having crossed over from there, so someplace up in Lebanon, they came down, now they're crossing back over the Sea of Galilee. Jesus came by the Sea of Galilee. Jesus ilthe para ten thalasan tis Galileas. Ke anavas isto oros ekathito eki, and having ascended into the mountain, was sitting there. Here's a picture of that area, and he was probably up there on the far side in the mountainous area, sitting up there. In verse 30, Ke prosilthon afto okli poli, and came forward to him great multitudes. Ekontes methiafton holus tiflus kofus chilus ke etrus polus, having with themselves lame, blind, mutes, cripples, and many others. Hetero is the derivative here. Poli, many. And ke eripsan aftus para tus pothus tu Isu, and they dropped them by the feet of Jesus. Para, we have a paragraph, something written by. Ke etherapevsin aftus, and he cured them. 31. Oste tus oculus thavmase vlepontes kofus laluntos, so that the multitudes marveled, seeing mutes speaking. Kilus igiis, cripples in health. Hygiene is the derivative for that word. Holus peripatuntus, lame walking. Ke tiflus vlepontus, and blind seeing. Ke doxasan ton theon Israel, and they glorified the God of Israel, the doxa, the doxology, the glory and the liturgy. Verse 32, O de Isus, and Jesus, proskalasamenos tus mathitas aftu, having called on his disciples, ipe, spalanknizome epi ton oklon, I move with compassion, I have gut feelings, the guts, the spalankna, the spleen, over the multitude. Oti ithi imeris tris prosmenusi me, for already 3 days they remain with me. Ke uk echusi ti fagosi, and they have not anything to eat. 3 days. Well, I went through 2 days in a fast, and that was horrible. Here, 3 days are out in the wilderness, and nothing to eat. Tri is 3, is a derivative. Imeris, ephemeral, is an English derivative. Ke apolise aftus nistis uthelo, and I do not want to dismiss them hungry from fasting. Mi pote eklithosin enti odo, lest at any time they faint in the way. An odometer is a derivative. Odo. Ke legusin avto imathi te avtu, and his disciples say to him, Pothani mean en erimia, for where is there to us, being in desolation, arti tosuti, breads for so many, oste hortase oklon tosuton, so as to fill a multitude so great. They've already forgot the last one of the 5,000. And so they're questioning him again. Ke legi avtis, o Isus, posus artus ekete, how many breads do you have? Ide ipon, epta ke oliga ikthithia, 7, and a few fish. Epta, hepta, is a 7 in the derivative. Ichthyology is studying of fish. Ke akelev se tis oklis anapesin epi tigin, and he bid the multitudes to recline upon the gain. The geology is a derivative, the ground, the earth. Ke lavon tus epta artus ke tus ichthias, and having taken the 7 breads and the fishes, evcharistisas, having given thanks. The Eucharist is a derivative. As a Eucharist would be a transliteration if I'm putting that. But having given thanks, eklasa Ke edoke tis mathite saftu. He broke and gave to his disciples. Ide mathite to oklo. And the disciples to the multitude. So all the people are sitting there, and these disciples are passing out this food that Jesus is passing to them by hand. Ke ephagon pantus, ke ehortas, these son, and all ate and were filled. Ke iron to perisevon ton klasmaton, and they lifted up the abundance of the pieces. Epta spiridas pleris, 7 baskets full. The same in the last time was 5,000 and five bushels, and here there's a 7. The same amount as at the beginning. It was all filled back up. Nothing was gone. It was all still there. Verse 38. Buddha didn't do that. Buddha died. And the Hindus' gods are the gods of nature, which were man-made. And Muhammad, a prophet that was bringing the writings of his deity, came, but he died. But not Jesus. Jesus didn't die. And he was beyond man. He was able to do all these miracles. All these things that Jesus did, these miracles, and we just have started with them. Either it was the biggest lie in history, the biggest falsehood in history, and we're wasting our time, or it's the sublime truth. But history, in the Jewish history, miracles happen quite often. Not quite often, but they were there. You see them with Elijah and Elisha and different things, and Moses. And Jesus was doing something that was not uncommon for the Jews, but they didn't see it every day. But he was doing miracles. Miracles is a part of the Judeo-Christian tradition. And it's way beyond any other religion. Ke apolisas tus oklus, and having dismissed the crowds, anevi is to plion. He stepped into the boat. Ke ilthan is taoria Magdala, and he came into the borders of Magdala on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. So now he's cutting across. Came down from Tyre and Sidon, came down to the Lake of Gennesaret, Lake of Galilee, and now he's heading on. Next week, we're going to be going into chapter 16. So now these Pharisees and Sadducees who are there are going to test him. So hope you'll join us in the next video, and God bless.